welcome to the Red Room. Today we're going to talk about our favorite D&D food. Mine is sushi. What's yours, Miguel?
Hamburgers. Um, so we are late to the feast or the party, but we are going to talk about the what should we call it?
That's beautiful art.
Yes, the illustration that contains lots of ethnic foods. That was the
Yes. Well,
expression
I wouldn't
I
say
was
if
looking
it's
for.
I wouldn't call it ethnic foods because it also has hamburgers there,
Yeah,
sort of
well,
like Mac.
mostly ethnic
So
food, but
it's
part of it is
trendy modern food. So I
modern.
don't think the
But it is
fact, well, people
you
complain.
see that the Asian is eating noodles because if
Of course,
someone else ate the noodles, it would be racism.
except for the sushi, because I guess that's trendy. But so people have been talking about this for a while. It called my attention because of a specific series of tweets, and I'm going to try to share that if I have the. I think I've seen other interesting tweets from this pixie person.
Let me just check it. Okay, Pixie Magic. I think I've seen that name, but probably
Yeah,
related
yeah,
to
yeah,
this.
yeah.
I think I've
I
seen them.
don't. We may have make fun of her some other time, but I know I called. She's disabled, and that was that
She,
discussion about.
her,
Uh,
they, them.
yes, it was the.
Oh
It was
yeah,
a
no, yeah.
discussion.
You showed me that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She was discussing about with
So is
someone that was actually
the picture
disabled.
there, the illustration there?
It
Just
will be, yeah, but
will
just
be.
so this is it's down here. Let me see. Yeah, this one is fun. Street tacos made of dragon meat and sold at market stalls. Portside sushi house that specializes in crack and tempura. But my favorite is really the traveling
Present
tandoori
time to
wagon. It's like, okay, I think it's the image is here. Let me see. There was a series. This person tweets a lot. They were making fun. It all started because of
yes.
this deal, Lee dude. So we have and actually somebody called to my attention that are hamburgers here. And
Yes.
well, people are also thinking that hamburgers is also stupid, but it
Of
doesn't
course
beat
it is.
the
Yes.
sushi.
Of course, I didn't notice
But
the hamburgers, so
apparently,
maybe they look like sandwiches, probably. I don't know.
yeah, I'm looking for. There was a couple of tweets that I shared that it was, yeah. Basically, the take is that it's European. You know, the people are European centrist and they only want European medieval food. Yes, well, D&D is mostly European.
Yes, it's supposed to be generically. There's a cat here. You heard about
D&D can and does involve traveling around the whole world, sometimes more than one world if the plans get involved. What he
okay,
thinks
if they
every
visit
planet and
Earth,
continent.
if
Hmm?
they visit Seattle
Yes,
in the
exactly.
21st century, okay, that's okay. Cat, get out.
Kiki, get out of there. Well, I'm not going
Your
to
cat is
go in.
bothering me.
Oh, honestly, sushi makes sense. Yes, this is the one that I was looking for. This was my favorite one
It's
that I
red, and I
shared.
know, yeah, that raw
Yes.
fish can go better.
Sushi is the best food to carry in a dungeon because yeah, it doesn't go bad quickly, right? You just put it in your bag and then you pick up and you eat it whenever. I know you don't like sushi, Miguel, but the truth
I
is
hate
that if you
sushi.
don't eat it right away, it gets gross. So
It's always gross. It's gross as soon as they prepare it. Anyway,
enough of this.
no, you can
Let
just
me
stop
stop
sharing,
sharing.
but I have something else to say about this. So if this is a message, well, they are not going to listen to the video, but
Mhm.
it's kind of a message to the people that think that this is okay because reasons. Okay, if you really don't want to use just generic food like bread and chicken and
I
meat.
guess bread is racist.
Bread is also racist, of course it is. But if you want to add some more, and I think that's cool, you have more flavor to it, and you don't want to use only European food, well, you can use the same things, at least the something similar, but not really. Change the ingredients, change the shapes,
Mhm.
and
Don't
this
call
is
it sushi.
and don't call it well. In this case, it's an illustration, so they aren't calling
Mhm.
it, calling it anything. But don't draw the fucking sushi as it's supposed to be in reality. If you want to draw something that's cooked, that's fish and that's raw fish, do it somewhere else, some other way, or at least, or maybe perhaps it won't be identified, but who cares? It's supposed to be fantasy. Do something else, do something different. And don't do the fucking tacos. Why that shape? Do something that looks like a taco, but with a different shape at least. At least change the fucking shape. Is that? But then
it's
you won't identify it. Yes, that's the main purpose. You shouldn't identify it. You
I mean,
stupid
they're saying,
people.
"Oh, you don't have imagination because you want to have European
No,
foods."
they
But
don't have
no, the people want
imagination
sushi because it's trendy.
yes, yes, and they can't do the fucking thing without the fucking shapes. They have to identify it as fucking sushi. Don't do sushi. Do something else. Okay, it's raw fish. Yes, it's an illustration. Maybe you can't identify raw fish in an illustration without making it look like sushi. But that's precisely the thing. You don't have to identify it as anything. Put some fucking food there that doesn't look like anything you know. And then it's fantasy. Or then
Not
put the
boring.
fucking chicken there. A fried chicken, a roasted chicken, something. That might be also, you can say that, okay, but why they have chickens? I don't know. They have chickens anyway. There are chickens in Skyrim, so why not? There are chickens. There are people as well, so why not? If there are people and cows and chickens and all that, and people cook it in different ways, possibly, but some of the ways, I mean, if you are frying something or roasting or whatever, the normal food, it will look more or less the same. When you are doing specific dishes, like, and those are the ones you should avoid, like pizza. Don't put a pizza there. Put something else. Put some kind of garlic bread that doesn't look like the same thing in
But
different
it cannot
shape.
be a naan also.
Yeah, it
It
can be
cannot be a garlic naan.
but maybe just bread with something on top, but not exactly the same way as a pizza
Yeah.
looks like, or something that looks like a sandwich, but it's not an hamburger. And I don't know, just it's
Because
tiring.
it's also weird to have in the same, and so for people that like sushi and meat and tacos and all in the same, that means that the
Yeah.
food in that tavern is shit. Because if they cook
No, that's not
all
that's a
different
spell.
types of food, that's also
In that
that's a
case, it's a
shitty
spell.
tavern.
They are in the dungeon, and then
Mhm.
the magician or the I don't know, it's a cleric maybe, probably cleric spell. He produced food by mystical means. So it's yeah,
Okay, so it's mystical food.
yeah, it's mystical food. I don't know if it's if it tastes even. Yeah. Maybe it
I
doesn't.
mean, I was thinking
Taste.
when we play
Probably it has a
Saint-Claude,
taste.
we end up talking too much about the pies, but that is because it's a Twin Peaks reference.
Yes, yes, and
The coffee and the pies.
yes, and then we started talking about other stuff. The
Yeah.
pub near the sea that had some fish dishes and all that. But yeah, well, that's a different kind of thing. It's a horror setting in modern days. So yes, we
Yeah,
can
no, it
talk about
was
food, and real food in that case is normal. But in this case, this is a fantasy setting, illustrations for a fantasy setting, which should have something different, or at least not
someone was saying,
exactly identifiable.
or several people were saying that the photos look like corporate stock photos. The
Yeah,
pictures look
it
like
has
the
some.
people
Yeah,
are
all of
posed
them.
like
Yes,
they
they
were
are always bad. They are always like
very generic. Yes, around the table.
yes. It all looks like something
Yeah,
very yeah. It looks like something that was prepared. So you stay like this, and you pose like this, and you are picking up something, and the other one is eating the noodle. But yeah, that's doesn't look natural though. Okay, so we talked about the this week's subject, and now we are going to talk about something that we should have mentioned before.
it's 2 weeks ago subject or 3 weeks. When did it go? Came
Justice, no,
out?
it was 2 weeks ago. Okay, so Wretched Justice was one of the latest releases. The latest release, if you mention only paid stuff. There was
Mhm.
a free Wretched verse as well, but this one was 2 weeks ago. Was setting. This is for playing 1970s action games. You can play as the police or as the criminals. This is a mix of two things. One of them was already a setting in Wretched, which we called
Days
Days
of
of
Lead.
but it was a very niche setting, so I decided to do something else, and so include Days of Lead in this book, but also expand the setting to include the original, which are the American movies,
Mhm.
which the Italian Poliziotteschi or Poliziotteschi, I don't know how it is pronounced. Well, the Italian police action movies of the 70s, they were kind of an answer to what was happening in the States at the time. So there were several successes. One of them
Dirty
was Dirty
Harry.
Harry. The other one was Death Wish.
That Wish. I was
There
going to
was
say
also
those
Bullet.
Charles Bronson movies. I never remember the name, but
Yeah,
yes,
well,
That Wish.
Death Wish is the most famous, but there were other stuff like that. So very and also the black exploitation movies that they were also at the same time. And the Italians didn't do a black exploitation, of course, because they didn't have a black community to justify that. But they did
To
something similar.
exploit.
Yes, so they exploited the white cops. So they did a series of movies that are about detectives mostly. In this case, they are mostly about police officers fighting terrorists, criminals, organized crime, usually the mob. The American equivalent is a little bit different because
Mhm.
it's not exactly well, it's about different kinds of things. Well, mostly gangs, but not just that. Um, in the case of the series of Dirty Harry series, there are several kinds of
Mhm.
major villains,
They're a serial
assassins,
killer, if I'm not,
serial
yes,
killers, and
mistaken. I don't know if that's a dirty cop or I'm
there are always dirty cops
yeah.
in this kind of thing. And the cops themselves are usually an embarrassment.
Mhm.
There are always bad cops in terms of incompetent, not bad, corrupt, but also corrupt. Incompetent, and those that are too strict and cannot deal with the
Mhm.
crimes. And so there's Callahan, Inspector Callahan, doing his thing. Or in the case of Death Wish, the cops are also characters, but they aren't main characters because I think he was an architect, Paul
Yes,
something. He had to take justice into his own hands.
his big hands.
His big hands. So in this case, you have all those types of movies and others. There are other examples that aren't exactly like this, uh,
Mhm.
and so the rules changes reflect um, the time and also the kind of game, because this is
So
specific.
it's
You are not expected to play horror in this case. I didn't even include wretched factions or monsters in this because it's a genre that has no supernatural, or rarely it could have supernatural.
Mhm.
So you also find here new archetypes, mostly cops and criminals.
Dirty
You
cop,
have dirty cops, you have
delusion FBI.
detectives,
Yeah.
investigative reporters. In this case, it's not a cop, but it's still an investigator, and also other characters. So, for example, Black Panther members, because well, they might be criminals or not, but they are characters that would show in this kind
Civil
of.
rights activist.
Yeah, this is for the more for
Mhm.
the, the Italian version, perhaps. Some of this, the disgraced televangelist, is for the American version, of course. But some of these are, so for example, the leftist lawyer was made for Days of Lead. The political radical, the same, but you can play the political radical in the United States as well. So the radical priest was for Days of Lead because um, I was
He's
thinking about the
Italian.
Catholic priest, the leftist Catholic priest. But you can, the former partisan, exactly the same thing. An old guy who was a member of the Italian resistance during the war. But some of the archetypes can be played in both settings, or I don't know if you can call this settings, at least city settings. So one of the cities is Cittadella, which was introduced in Days of Lead. The other one is Blackwater, which was already used for noir.
Mhm.
And before that, Mirage Hills. There's also a worldview, a different worldview. What worldview, for people who don't know, is an alternative to the sins and virtues. So it's a different kind of alignment. In this case, you have
Law
to,
versus vigilantism.
law versus vigilantism, and the other spectrum is idealism versus cynicism. So the two spectrums are used, and this is a kind of a slightly different way of handling alignment. You have a scale instead of just having one fixed alignment, so it can change according to your the way you play. So you start where you decide to start, and then it might change. There are some expanded rules for vehicle combat because, of course, this is the kind of setting that is lots of car chases and combat, and vehicles are important. Also, some specific vehicles for the time, a list of vehicles, mostly American and Italian, because there are the two versions. And different combat rules, cinematic combat rules. These ones are less detailed and faster, and meant to be played for and cinematic vehicle combat as well. So you have the more detailed vehicle combat if you want to expand the level of detail you are using, or cinematic because it's looks better maybe in this kind of in this style of adventure. And also intimidation rules, which were introduced in more, which you can also use for dealing with the gangsters and all that. So I was thinking about Inspector Callahan and this Magnum monologue, which makes sense in this kind of thing. Okay, carousing specifically for Blackwater and for Cittadella. This is basically events. And then you will find also, this is also repeated from other games, other game settings, information about and rules about interrogations.
But
and
you are expected to do well if you are police, you're not a vigilante, an architect like Charles.
Even
you're going to
even
do
for
some
a
police
vigilante.
work. You're expected to do some police
Yeah, but
work.
even for a vigilante game, you can use some of those things because some of them are just related to investigating crime scenes, and you can also investigate a crime scene as a vigilante. As I said, the adversaries chapter is only common people. There are no monsters, or beasts, or cryptids. This is an introduction to Blackwater in the 70s. Then gambling and crime and all the crime families are basically the same as in war, but they are updated to the 70s. Yes, in the future, if you look at it from the 40s. There's also some new gangs, the black gangs and the biker gangs and the Latino gangs, which weren't a thing in war. There's more detailed information about the police because you are expected at least or to be a part of the police or to be fighting against them. So there's more information about that. The city itself is more or less the same, but also updated. So some of the places have changed the locations.
I'm thinking if you're
some,
playing a
some change
vigilante,
names, some are different. Yes.
If you are playing a vigilante, so if you're not part of the police, you may be fighting against the criminals, but also the police, because they might try to be getting you, trying to get you.
As for Cittadella, it doesn't change anything, or maybe a couple of things that I corrected, but besides that, it's the same thing. I didn't change it because this one was already made for a setting like this one. And it contains the pregens from the other one, but not new pregens, and their maps
So
for
we got
Chitara.
the event generator
the
for
usual
both
things.
cities.
Yes, there are eventual generators for both cities, so that means that this is a new thing. In Chitafera, I didn't have an adventure generator, so I added, since I decided lately to put adventure generators in everything, I added one to Blackwater, and then I made one. So this is the new thing in Chitafera, and also more plot hooks. Not many, but just a couple of them. Not this one. This one's already there, but the neighborhoods now have also small plot hooks. So this is a 320 pages book, so much bigger than Days of Lab, obviously. I'm not sure if it's probably more than double because it
Well,
includes
it's two settings.
introduction. Yes,
in
and the
one book.
introduction is a little bit more material. So yeah, that's it. So if you haven't checked it out, now you can. And it's there at the store. Wretched Justice, the latest thing, and there will be a new release during the weekend, probably tomorrow, I think. Not today, so I'm sure it will be tomorrow. Wretched Darkness, not a new release, but an update. In fact, it will look like a different thing because I changed the layout. So the first thing you'll notice that it's not in color, but we'll do a video for that. So for now, it's just that. Okay, just bye bye.